There was a program, a series on TV a number of years ago called Scorpion. Now, I watched a few of the episodes, but I never got really engaged in the program, and I believe it's since gone off the air. But the premise of the program was loosely based on a real person, a man by the name of Walter O'Brien, who supposedly was extremely intelligent, a genius, a man with an IQ of 197. And he had a group of friends, and his idea was to gather these friends together, all of whom were sort of exceptional people, were geniuses in their own right in various disciplines, and gather them together to be a group that would help anyone who needed help from some problem out there in the world, particularly the government. And actually, I think most of their cases were for homeland security, sort of staving off terrorist attacks and those kinds of things. Now, they didn't do it through brawn and strength and guns. They did it with their brains. But there was one character, a young woman called Paige, and she wasn't a genius. She was just an ordinary person. But she had a son who was very special, who had a very high IQ. And she joined the group to do two things: to get help understanding her son from all of these other geniuses, but also to help the geniuses be able to relate to everyday people. That was something that they couldn't do. They couldn't figure that out. Now, that might be a very odd story to use on the fourth Sunday of Advent as I begin a homily, but I thought of it in terms of where we are at this moment. We hear that famous, we encounter that famous scene with Mary and Gabriel, where Mary is brought in to the incarnation, to the mystery. And as we hear at the end of the reading, we find out that we always have to remember that nothing is ever impossible for God. And that's how we enter into mystery. But I also think our characters today, people like Mary and Joseph and Elizabeth and Zachariah, mostly all of our characters in our sacred scripture are ordinary people. People that we encounter, that we meet, that help us to relate to the mystery of God, to the mystery of the incarnation. And certainly Mary's yes, and Joseph's yes, and all the other ordinary men and women whom we encounter, and their yeses, and their questions, and their encounters with God sort of help us to continue this journey of faith, of hope, that we might be embraced in just a few days once again by the wonderful love of God.